What's up, Marks? It's your boy Heyman Guy here, and I'm here today to bring you my review of NXT Takeover 2 Fatal 4-Way, which featured the debut of international superstar Kenta, now known as Hideo Itami, a great women's championship match between the daughter of Ric Flair, Charlotte, and the sweetheart of NXT, Bayley, and a tremendous Fatal 4-Way for the NXT championship between Sami Zayn, Tyson Kidd, Tyler Breeze, and Adrian Neville. But before I get into the matches, I do want to talk about one of the announcers from this show tonight. Last night, my sweetheart Renee Young hosted the NXT Takeover pre-show. She did commentary on the actual show, and she did post-show interviews on the NXT Takeover Fallout show. Flat out, Renee Young was the busiest person at NXT Takeover last night, and I simply can't get enough of her. I know not everyone's the biggest fan of her commentary, but I actually enjoy it, and I think she's the best backstage interviewer since Mean Gene Okerlund. But there's been rumors lately that eventually she'll be part of the Raw announce team, and I'd be glad to see that. I think she'd be an upgrade over Jerry the King Lawler at this point in her career, in his career. And for some reason, I still think a three-man or three-person booth of Michael Cole, JBL, and Renee Young could work out very well. We've seen the chemistry they have on the JBL and Cole show on YouTube, and I think it would just be entertaining. But that's enough about Renee Young. With all that being said, let's get into the very first match of NXT TakeOver 2, Fatal 4-Way. The first match on the card saw the Ascension defend their NXT Tag Team Championships against the team of the Lucha Dragons, Kalisto and Sin Cara. This was a good way to kick off the show. You know, it's almost reminiscent of the way a lot of WCW pay-per-views would start off back in the day, with the cruiserweights kind of being not crash test dummies in this case, but just flying around, bringing some high energy here to start the show. We saw the Ascension's near year-long tag team title reign come to an end. Kalisto hit a variation. It's almost like a sliced bread number 2, but without using the corner. But he hit that on Victor and was able to pin him for the 1-2-3. And we have new tag team champions. I like the Ascension, but it was time for their tag team title reign to come to an end. And I'm glad for both Kalisto and Sin Cara. This variation of Sin Cara, formerly known as Unico, has done a great job in the role, and I think these guys can be good tag team champions. And with the Ascension losing their belts, I hope they get a call up to the main roster soon. Main roster could use a tag team like them, and quite frankly, they've done all they can do in NXT. So, congratulations Sin Cara and Kalisto, and Connor and Victor. I hope to see you guys up on the main roster very, very soon. Next up, we saw CJ Parker face who I was hoping was going to be a debuting Prince Devitt or Kevin Steen, but we got CJ Parker against Baron Corbin, who in a matter of minutes just completely took out CJ Parker. And in an impressive showing, Baron Corbin, I know he's been on NXT here before, but I guess this was kind of his re-debut. The guy is big, he's got a great look, and the finisher he hit CJ Parker with was tremendous. So, a short but great showing out of Baron Corbin. And from the little bit I saw, it looks like the guy has a lot of potential, and I'm looking forward to seeing the development of Baron Corbin. And also, anytime I can see CJ Parker basically just get his butt kicked, it's a good time. But that's really all I have to say about that. That's all that really happened in this match. So, moving on. Next up, we got the hair versus hair match featuring Sylvester Lefort and the man who is a certified G and a bona fide stud. And you can't teach that. Enzo Amore. Was this a great match? No. Did I expect it to be a great match? Absolutely not. Was it entertaining? Definitely. Enzo and Lefort went back and forth, and Enzo wound up winning with a roll-up pin. And unfortunately, we did not see Sylvester Lefort lose his hair, but what we did see was his associate, Marcus Louis, we got to see him with a fresh haircut. Let that image of Marcus Louis just let it sink in for a minute. Isn't it a lovely image? It's just it's just something else. Again, I enjoyed this angle between Enzo and Sylvester Lefort, and I'm okay with it continuing. We'll see what they decide to do with these four guys in the upcoming weeks here on NXT. Up next, we got the debut of international superstar recent signee Kenta, who came out and cut a promo in both Japanese and in English. Obviously, his English needs some work if he's going to get up to the main roster, but that's why he's down here in NXT. We all already know that Kenta is a great wrestler. He doesn't really need to refine that at all, but he'll need to work on his promo skills, so I'm sure he'll pick up that ability down in NXT. He announced that he's now going to be going by the name of Hideo Itami, which I was hoping he'd get to keep the Kenta name, but it's not exactly a bad name. I could get used to Hideo Itami. Kenta was interrupted by the Ascension, who were PO'd about losing their tag team titles earlier in the night and were looking to pick a fight, and Kenta kicked their butts. So he got a great reception where he was introduced by the NXT general manager, he got a new name, and he took out the most dominant tag team in NXT history. If you ask me, overall that was a great debut for the former Kenta, now known as Hideo Itami. And I look forward to seeing what Hideo Itami does in NXT and how he evolves and how he develops the character, and hopefully eventually gets to the main roster of WWE. Next up, we saw Mojo Rawley face Bull Dempsey in a flat-out squash match. Bull came out, hit a couple big moves, and won the match by hitting a dive-in headbutt on the Mojo Rawley. Again, nothing else but a straight-up squash match, and it made Bull Dempsey look strong. So, I like Bull Dempsey, and I'm very interested to see exactly what he does moving forward as he develops down here in NXT. Next up on the card, we got the co-main event for the Women's Championship featuring the daughter of Ric Flair, Charlotte, woo, against the sweetheart of NXT, Bayley. Now, I want to go back to something I said a second ago. This Women's Championship match was the co-main event of NXT Takeover. The co-main event. That's amazing when you think about what's going on the main roster with the women right now, where the main storylines involve AJ Lee and Paige, who are doing this weird story with these lesbian overtones to it, and you have the Bella twins feuding over, I don't know, wrecked cars, stolen boyfriends, cheating on Test. I mean, it's just ridiculous when you compare what's going on the main roster to these women down in NXT who are fighting over the championship belt. That belt means something to them. It's what they're fighting over. If this is Triple H's idea of women's wrestling, then I'm all for Triple H taking over the reins one day. But regarding the actual match, it was a very good match. Bayley's a good wrestler, and I'm convinced that Charlotte is the future of the Divas division, and I don't think she'll be compared to her dad Ric Flair much. One, simply because she's a women's wrestler, and two, unlike her brother David, her father right now is not currently wrestling, so he's not going to be as fresh in the minds of a lot of fans. So I think Charlotte will be able to avoid the comparisons that haunted David and would have haunted Reed if he wouldn't have unfortunately left us. And again, she's the future of the Divas division, and I think Bayley has a very bright future when she gets called up to the main roster, and I hope she keeps all the stuff she has from her little character to the wacky inflatable whaling arm tube men. So I enjoyed Bayley very much. But with that being said, let's move on to the main event. The main event of the evening was a fatal four-way match for the NXT Championship featuring Sami Zayn, Tyson Kidd, Prince Pretty himself, Tyler Breeze, and the man who gravity forgot, Adrian Neville. this was just a great match. This is the type of match that makes me want to get up and chant along with the crowd, NXT, NXT, NXT. These four men, they put on a great show. And real quick, I want to talk about one man in particular, and that's Tyson Kidd. Tyson may not have had any of those show-stealing moments in the match last night, but I just find it amazing how he's been able to go down to NXT and kind of reinvent himself. And I think he's become the best heel in the history of NXT. He may not, although he did get some boos from the crowd. They seem to dislike him at times. But whether it's the Natty's husband chant or the Tyson's chicken chant, this guy gets heat from the NXT universe, which is kind of hard to do. So again, I find it impressive how Tyson Kidd's been able to reinvent himself. And I honestly don't mind if he never makes it back up to the main roster. I'd be perfectly happy to see him do this act on NXT. Now back to the actual match. Again, these four guys stole the show. There were several times when I thought Prince Pretty, Tyler Breeze, Tyson Kidd, and Sami Zayn were all going to wrestle that NXT championship away from Adrian Neville. I thought there near the end, I thought for sure Sami Zayn was going to win the belt when he gave the haluva kick to, I want to say it was Tyson Kidd. But Adrian Neville pulled the ref out of the ring, stopped the count, and Neville was able to hit the red arrow for the win. Again, a great main event match. I wouldn't expect anything less out of these four talents. And these NXT specials, they're constantly highlights of the year. They're better than most pay-per-views, and this main event was one of the better main events I've seen in a very long time. Kudos to all four men, and I can't wait until Adrian Neville, Sami Zayn, and Tyler Breeze all get up to the main roster and are given a chance to do their thing up there for a larger audience to see them. If I had to give this show a grade, with A being the highest and F being the lowest, this is definitely an A. I enjoyed everything on this show from top to bottom, whether it was Enzo Amore and Sylvester Lefort's angle with the hair versus hair match, or the great wrestling featured by Charlotte and Bayley, and in this Fatal 4-Way. If you're not watching NXT, I highly recommend that you do. It's the highlight of my week as a wrestling fan. Again, it's an A show. People, if you haven't seen NXT Takeover 2 Fatal 4-Way, pay your $9.99, get on the network, and watch it. Thank you for watching my review of NXT Takeover 2 Fatal 4-Way. If you have anything to say, leave it in the comments section below. And if you like this video, then hit that like button. Until next time, this is your boy Heyman guy here, and you marks, just keep on marking out. This has been a Wrestling Mark production.